Hey, what is up, y'all? Rad Picker in the Rad Cave. I am just making a little video to kind of end this holiday weekend off with a bang. eBay sales been a little slow. I have not listed lately, but it's weird because I listed super hard for a while and kind of thought I was listing too many, like 50, 60, but may just be the items I have. I keep continuing to send out offers and getting sales here and there, but no monster days in the last several. Did a Whatnot show the other day, glass show, like I mentioned, and I enjoy it and I like glass. So that's what's coming up here in the next few weeks, and we're getting back to reselling. This one point I need to make because I'm extremely sensitive about this, more so defensive, and it's a character thing. And so I'm just going to let it rip and then move on, tater chip. And it's more of a warning, an apology, and information all wrapped up in one. And it's the importance of not gossiping. And I've done that my whole life, heard that my whole life. Sorry, that's how I grew up. And I realize why. Because, again, I'm pretty introspective. I come on here and in my live shows, I'm the same here as I am in my lives. I once had a buddy say, all those YouTubers are kind of fake and all that. And I took offense to that. I'm like, then you're saying I am. And I'm like, well, I mean, I call myself the Rad Picker in the third person. That may be pretentious, but outside of that, I speak my mind. And if I'm sorry, I'll apologize. But for the most part, I just move on. But I wanted to speak about something because I grew up around in a neighborhood and up outside of Detroit, a lot of trash talking. I was a basketball player and one of the world's best trash talkers, and that's what I do. So when I'm conversing with people, I tend to go extreme, radical, if you will. So, for instance, if I said something about business, well, let me take it back to basketball. I played in areas where you had to kind of, or at least for me, I had an alter ego. I could build up this character inside me, kind of like Slim Shady, but it was way before Slim Shady, Eminem, but to have this confidence, because you get laughed out of some places I've been. So that's kind of my defense mechanism. I'm somewhat humorous, at least in my mind. I've had a few people tell me that, but so I have this cockiness, but I'm a softie. I was born in July. I don't believe in horoscopes, but supposedly July baby's sensitive, loyal, all that, and it kind of does describe me. But I don't prescribe to that, but it is what it is. But I have this smart mouth, and so when somebody ever questions me, I've been an entrepreneur, like in text, I go, if somebody comes at me, I try to take it to the next level. And, a lot of times that lends itself to, oh, why are you getting so crazy? I'm like, you started it, you said it. And so, maybe that's a flaw, character flaw, but the one character issue I have is any idea that I would do anything sneaky or just unethical. And we all have capabilities to screw up. I'm not talking about that. I'm just directing something that's extremely important because after watching things, I have the tendency to observe, watch people. It's a gift and a curse. I can get the vibe off somebody, and a lot of times I'm wrong. Trust me, a lot of times doesn't mean I hit it on the head, but sometimes I get these feelings, and later on I realize, oh, whether I did the right or wrong thing, I had this feeling it was true. What I'm alluding to is when you're live selling, especially making YouTube content, and I'm talking to newbies because I am a newbie, and people will take to you, or I won't even say respect you, but they see you on video and they think they know you and all this, or want to, whatever. I'm not getting any like arrogant stuff or nothing like that. I'm a small time nobody. But what I mean is, like live selling, I would have people reach out to me, and 99% of those that have done so have been tremendous, and they still do on multiple platforms. And I appreciate them greatly. I don't want that to stop. I want to always be I am a regular guy. I'm not trying to paint any other picture. I'm trying to hammer the point home that I'm a people person. I love dealing with people. That's why I'm in this. I had alluded to before on a podcast, they asked me why I do YouTube, and I said money. And I wish I would have clarified that. I've said this before, but I'm going to reiterate that I wish I would have said, well, I really like people, but money's nice and all that. But my reason for this is I enjoy it. I like talking to people, interacting with people. So that's why I do it. But there are instances where, somebody that gained trust from me way too early, and this is where I fault, that I would start talking trash, basically. Stuff is basically gossip. And for me, like for instance, somebody would talk about a platform or basically this person would challenge me like, I don't like so-and-so. I don't like, and be like, well, I'll take over all of them. That's the sort of thing I do. Like, or they would think because they bought a lot of things or whatever that they could give unsolicited advice or try to even contacting people I knew and operating in my business without my permission, thinking they had control. And then I realized way too late that this is where this was going. But the toothpaste is already out of the tube when I had said all sorts of crazy stuff. It basically like talking to one of my friends that I've known for a long time, because we've laughed and joked. It's all innocent, fun, and not inappropriate until you cut that off because of reasons that you should, where they are now trying to control your life and do things outside. You're like, whoa, I thought we were just chit-chatting, talking shop, eating up hours of the day, not you're trying to get into my life or tell me how to do this or talking to other people on my behalf. And I was like, whoa. And there was a couple people. And out of the dozens and dozens and dozens of awesome comments, concerns, chats, DMs from people, I mean, in the hundreds that were perfectly fine, a couple turned out to be super sour. And the sourness came from me not reciprocating the type of attention that apparently they wanted or needed. And it just, I'm not talking about a relationship wise, but I mean, it's just as even in business is inappropriate. It just, all right, you don't need to be speaking for me. We're not partners and stuff like that. Well, that offends people like that when they feel like they're just that type of people. And then starts smear campaigning where they can take screenshots, which were 100% real, I'm assuming. Of course, nowadays you can make up that kind of stuff. I can create one myself now, but I started saying as things progressed in weirdness and drama, and I'm like, and I've been pulled different directions. These people would say, oh, I don't like this person. I'd be like, well, yeah, I felt a certain type of way. So we're talking like we talk to our friends, gossiping and saying, yeah, blah, 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 do this over here. And then, yeah, he's kind of funny too, or they are kind of funny, or she's kind of funny. And you're talking, but it's gossip. And what happens is now there's a record of it. And like, if I wanted to paint a picture right now, I could send some screenshots because I save everything. And I could paint any picture I wanted, I realized. And I started hearing things and stuff, and I'm like, oh, I get it now. I can see what's happening. Revenge is a dish best served cold by those with a Jezebel spirit. And I won't get too spiritual on you, but you can research that if you want. So I'm making this video just simply for two things: the warning and to be careful, and to at least say this. I've been offered by people I realize in the end, and again, I have receipts for this, but I'm not doing that. This is it. This is the holiday weekend. We're moving forward. But one thing so important to me is to make sure no one thinks that I would ever was teaming up with anybody to try to poach, take, manipulate, build my YouTube, because I was in a live one time with somebody that I respect dearly, and they were whispering. They didn't realize, I mean, no one else would know this or hear this, but they was referring to me, and they're basically, well, for his YouTube and stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, they really think. So I tried to go overboard to make sure people knew, like, dude, if the one thing I am, and I made this video before to explain this, if I'm not authentic, man, there's nobody out there that's authentic. I will stand on that. For all of the flaws I have, I'm too cocky, I'm a bad reseller, I talk too much, I'm too hot-headed, and all the stuff that's wrong with me. One thing is you're not getting a fake. And I alluded to a text message that somebody offered, and I wrote them back, and I respected this person, said, that's not what I'm about. I'm not about, if somebody does something to me, I'm quick triggered, I will speak my mind, but to purposefully try to, I don't work in the weeds. I don't work in covertly, what am I trying to say? Covertly, sorry. And that's my point. And that's something I take really, I got a chip on my shoulder about anyone who would say, oh, he's doing this, because I started thinking about what messages, and I'm thinking, I remember specifically saying, they're not nothing. I basically trash talk. I'm paraphrasing. I could do whatever. I'm this great salesman, and I do have that. That's my alter ego of you better be confident when you lose everything. When you've been, and look, people had it way worse than me, but I've had some struggles in my life, and I've had to have that belief that not just self-belief, but belief in God and all that. But the flesh side of it is just this, this alter ego of, I can do anything. That's how I approach sales, because if you get nervous, that's that kind of self-talk. You got to pump yourself up, like fighting. Like you got to build up this thing. And so that's in me. And right or wrong, I say stuff. And then there's other times where I have set traps, because something comes up, I'm really suspicious. So I say something wild to see if it'll come back to me. And I guess you could say that's operating covertly, but this is dealing with people who are really, I suspect, of doing something damaging to me. This is like someone I'm like a potential enemy, and I'm trying to keep it peaceful, and maybe they'll just disappear, but I'm like, oh, this is a problem. That's what I mean. But somebody that's like one of these platforms, I don't care what it is. It's not that deep. I mean, like, I'm not, if somebody, alludes to me and I know it and they think no one else does and they're throwing their little shot, now I'm probably going to jump. But I'm like I said before, that's even something that's just like, all right, dude, I'm almost 50. I gotta, takes too much of my mental real estate. So what I'm saying is, and I didn't even mean to get this deep, but I'm just saying this: be very, very careful who you share information with. And it's one thing to share information that's strictly business, but you get off talking about other people and gossiping and even being cocky or saying things that you think are funny, because everything I say is probably a psychological defense mechanism, is a joke. Even if it's mean-spirited, it's a like even saying, yeah, take them down or whatever, like that is something. But I realize, wow, there really is, because these people are still operating. I tried to warn some people, but it doesn't matter. That's not my business. I can't fix all of that. And maybe it's for a reason, but it's definitely toxic. Definitely something I would try to help anybody avoid. I've had many messages from other people who dealt with these people who feel the same way. And that's reasons why maybe they left platforms or did this or that. And there certainly is a group. I know I've had somebody approach me, even to this day, that think I don't know what they're about, and I do. And if that's you, and I'm not going to convince anybody, because that is what I mean by narcissism. Narcissism is something where it doesn't matter what you hear, you believe something, and even if you're presented evidence, you're the victim and you are in the right, and everyone's dumber than you. And that's what I mean. So save your comments on that. Well, actually, don't save your comments. Like I said, I actually enjoy that. Tried not to be mean-spirited, but I'm really, really good with my tongue, just like in those texts or DMs, whatever you want to call it, messages. So that is my point. I've just come to defend that one thing as my character. I don't want anyone to be able to say that I was a part of anyone that was trying to poach for my own good or whatever. Now, I'm not dumb. I realize, like I've said before, I go on a platform like there's a benefit to things. Just, like I deal when I was in the construction industry, I would deal with people. It would benefit me, but there was no, I'm going over here to steal their guys. Like, matter of fact, this may be the greatest point. Matter of fact, I loathe it so bad that it happened to me in my contracting business where people poached my guys. Even really, really good people that I respected, loved, and trusted poached my guys and did stuff on their own because they didn't want me making money and not be there. Even though I trained those guys, it was my business. So that alone, I hope, gives you some insight into my character. My wife once said about those other people in my past industry is, you're just mad because they don't treat you the way you would treat them. And I'm like, yeah, duh. Now, does that make me some perfect angel? No. But an idea that if I'm involved in any of this, and look, none of us are going to say each other's names, all that, and we don't need to, it's over, all that stuff. But it's very, very important to the people involved or anyone going to get involved that just watch what you say, because there really are super good people that get caught up, myself included, in things that aren't really true per se, or someone can build you up. This person's this, they said that, and that's where we get in trouble, our own gossip and talking about things. But so that's my warning. That is my defense of my character. Outside of that, everything else, you are right. I'm a loudmouth. I think I'm cool. I'm cocky. I do have alter ego, a loudmouth, a short temper. I'm not very good at reselling. Yes, my numbers, hey, if you want to see them, you can see them. What you see is what you get. But inauthentic and plotting, again, I have to drill this home, and then I'm enjoying the rest of this weekend. I won't stand for that. And I just had the realization earlier today after watching some stuff and contemplating. I'm like, it's none of my business. There's other things I would like to say about people, how they operate their stuff, but that's none of my business. I don't want someone telling me, and that's what I'm getting at, is somebody can try to manipulate you. And I realized, they may feel that way because of X, Y, and Z. And I know that hasn't ended because these certain people have made multiple fake accounts. They're still following me. They'll hear this. They have an obsession, and they're not going to stop because they think they'll get what they want. And when I talk about narcissists, I'm not always talking about your favorite person. I'm talking about the people who are watching and truly are plotting, but they will not be successful. All they will cause is division and strife, and that's not what I'm about. And that isn't what I think even these platforms that I've talked about, even maybe that's what I should say, is that wrongly or gossiped about. I really, truly think in my heart of hearts, that's not what they're about. But I think people get pulled by different people, and it's enjoyable just based on their personalities and upbringing. But anyways, let's not get too crazy. But that is my rant for today. After this, we are going back to reselling, folks. Like I said, I am full of joy. I really am. I'm trying to get this thing continuing to grow, and it won't be. And I'll say this: I'll be very careful in the future. I want to say other things like why I think it's a little bit goofy, perspective wise. But if people feel that way, again, it's not my business. It always bugs me when someone tries to tell me they don't appreciate how I feel. They just feel their way. So I'm going to try to do that same thing of like, well, they feel that way. It doesn't matter if I don't agree. It doesn't matter if I want to say like, look, I could give you an example right here, but it doesn't matter. The truth is I'm going to be a little more conscious, I guess. Well, I just won't be in the world. Trust me. The people I watch, YouTubers, like I said, I don't even know if you can call me a content creator. I just get on here, rant, and do whatever. But, you know, if there's a pecking order, I'll just respect that and not try to benefit from anyone, I guess what I'm saying. Because when I started this, I was getting invited on podcasts. Things were rapid. I don't want to say rapidly growing. I could go on and on, shorten this video. That's just been my life. I've been blessed to be in circles where I probably don't belong, and definitely faster than I should be there. And then I just realized, like, look, maybe it's not bringing joy to my life, so maybe that's the wrong direction. And I'm not blaming them. I'm saying that's a me thing. So I'll be cognizant not to... like back in the day, sorry, I'm old enough to say you're biting my rhymes, you know, you're taking my rhymes, copying me. I'll be very cognizant not to reach out. Now, I'm not going to not reach out to the people that I've sold thousands to, that we have rapport. We've been in shows and joked and laughed. I'm sorry if I made friends with people that I wouldn't have made friends with. I guess I alluded to, like, you know, if you were in the mall and you're Abercrombie and Fitch and, you know, you made friends with somebody at American Eagle, well, you can't help it. But now if the American Eagle folks come over there and start talking to customers and say, hey, why are you shopping here? Come over here. Now, I get that. I 100% do. But I guess I see it from a different perspective of, I honestly can say, I've said a lot of wild things, I guess you could say, but I don't know if there's anyone who lifted up, shouted out, or supported people more than me. And if that's pretentious, I'm sorry. I do feel that way, because that is my goal, is to always lift up, and not to lift up to pull them to me. Because like I said, if this thing don't go, it don't go. And if it does, it does. But I'm going to continue to do it until otherwise. So those are my thoughts. That's my rant. I'm sorry this is so boring to some of you. You're like, is this even content, reseller content? Why am I listening to this? But it is what it is. I just had to come on here and, one, give the warning, and that won't go anywhere. That'll just make probably those people I'm talking about angrier and more more apt to continue to try to manipulate, twist, and turn things to their... But that's the Jezebel spirit. Look that up if you don't care. But to the other people, the content, man, like I said before, I'm not going to say it, well, again, I was going to say, but you know me, I'm full of it. Again, I'm for them. I wish them well. There's no reason. Life, it's not that deep. It's not. It really isn't. So anyways, have a great day. Go Blue. Hail to the victors. Sorry to bore some of you folks, but please give me a like, share, and comment in the bottom. And I know it's exhausting, but I love y'all, mean it. Stay positive, stay picking, stay rad, and go Blue.